Jesus, like, so I'm gonna bubble goes all going through a truck, so
No matter what happened,
do you want to go to Baton Rouge, Paddington? What am I supposed to do in Baton Rouge? Wait, that's what I thought. Stop hitting him. I'm not hitting him. You're accusing me for everything, Mother. Come on.
The time to be tough is what we're going to do. If we got the request,
You're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be.
like a father figure here, telling him to look at him, and to be honest, in contrast, Gregory is sitting cross-armed and doesn't appear comfortable.
You could have seriously hurt him when you pushed him under his desk.
You
could have been seriously hurt.
And yet, he's oddly calm.
And you don't, quite frankly, you don't seem to care.
For some reason, you want something to
That's what you care about. Of course I do. Then why the fuck did you push him then? Paddington.
It's kind of like a question that she might have. When you have my whole operation, it's just, I don't want anything to become to the emotion the people out there hurt you to. Is that possible? No, okay. If it was, I would of course work in Brother. Okay, that's good. We want to make sure that you're okay. I definitely feel that's all of us because they're harder than the accident that happened.
And I locked it up.
With Gregory feeling more comfortable, Sergeant Pagliari begins the interview. Okay, as you can see, I see that you keep looking at my reporters, everything that I do, I'll see your reporters. Don't you see the Gregory has read his rights as is standard procedure. In Florida, there's no requirement for a parent to be present in order to interrogate a minor. However, there is an obligation to notify a parent or legal guardian when a minor is taken into custody, which isn't the same thing as questioning. The general take on the Florida parental notification requirement is that it's good faith, and the inability to make contact with a parent or guardian doesn't put a halt to any questioning. Still, it's important to note that Miranda rights apply to minors in Florida just as they do to adults. Now it's time for Sergeant Pagliari to get some background information on Gregory's mother and some recent trouble at school. How would you say your relationship is with your mom?
Because of this. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't even want to do anything now.
I he's a little bit with your mom. Okay, we love each other a lot. And I really hope she's okay. Have you ever been in trouble with the law before or anything? No? About trouble in school?
He said he doesn't want to do anything.
Having his sponsor in the room should make him feel much more comfortable and relaxed. Yet Gregory has his arms tightly crossed and his nonverbal communication is not in sync with his verbals, indicating he's feeling anxiety. Given the situation, this is understandable. He doesn't know where his mom is and his house has been burglarized. Still, he's very closed off. I've seen that before in 100 years, so like trouble in school like that.
A different way, because that's just not okay, Paddington. That's not cool.
Last month.
That's not a cool thing to do. I mean, you're just lucky you didn't get seriously hurt.
What is that, so, access to the school suspension? How is that school suspension? What happened the weekend before?
You're just lucky you didn't get seriously hurt. If you get seriously hurt, that's on you. Paddington, you'll be the one responsible if you get seriously hurt, so...
And my friend smoked cigarettes, and he gave me some thick over thing that was on my backpack, and I forgot to take them out. So, when I would search randomly at my school, and I won't feel about that. She was unhappy. But we worked out a solution, which was the only thing
It's a common search, Paddington, that don't know.
You're talking about ups and downs of your mom's relationship, right? So that would probably be one of the downs, I would assume. No, because she's just a
fun, but no, it's just not the time, okay? You'd have to do it at a different time. No, it's just not the time.
You want to talk about this? I really
I think you owe him an apology too because you pushed it. I mean, that wasn't a very nice thing to do. You should
Gregory is making an attempt to not only be perceived as a good person by making himself
seriously hurt him.
Someone who admits when he did something wrong, but also to control the interview when he adds all you really need to know, given the fact that he's only 15. This is all very bold. Okay, I'm not getting you in trouble, by the way. Yeah, okay. So if you're trying to... If you think that what you're going to tell me is going to negatively affect what I think about your mother, that's not it at all. It's just hard for me to talk about. Now that he understands Gregory a bit better, it's time for Pagliari to start creating a timeline from the day before the burglary. Who stayed at your house last night? Who was at my house last night? Yeah. Gregory repeats the question before answering, which gives him a pause to think about what exactly he wants to say. The reason this is a red flag is because the question is simple and straightforward, and not a complex question that requires a lot of thought.
It's tricky because one of you does have to hurt himself, and then ends up in the hospital.
Now, Detective Jones was talking to you, listening. You were at, fair or something yesterday?
What's going on?
Yesterday, I was working parking detail for the Orange City Police Explorers. I was helping park cars at the Polish County Fair. Do you know what time it was? 8:47 maybe? What's the specific? That's just the time I remember. Probably from looking at my phone. The thing with the car detail ended early. It was supposed to go until 9, but I think it ended a bit early. And so I got home around just closer to 9. So, yeah. Mom was home? Yeah. Okay. You guys, when you're home, conversation with Mom, ask how your day was, anything? Yeah. How'd that go? Good. Okay. You talked to me, Tim. Did you guys have dinner? I'm hungry. You don't remember what you had? No. Was something very eventful? No, it was just a very rough night. There's a slight upward inflection when Gregory answers good. This often indicates a bit of uncertainty. When you're home, conversation with Mom, ask how your day was, anything? Yeah. How'd that go? Good. The rest of Gregory's answers are also short and vague, but most interestingly, he also seems to be emphasizing that last night was, as he said, just like every other night. All of this together seems to suggest the opposite of what Gregory is saying, and something about last night was not good or like every other. So Mom is in a good mood? Because there seems to be dinner's never available. You know what I'm telling you? I know. Because when I find her and tell her, I'm going to say, listen, Greg said the dinner's so available.
No!
Think you can do 70 or 77, maybe? There are a few interesting interactions here. For one, a bit earlier, Gregory gives a very specific answer of 8:47, which sets the stage that his memory is very good. Second, the detective seems to have noticed how closed off Gregory is being still, and is doing a little bit of friendly picking on him to build rapport. However, when the detective talks about finding his mom, Gregory makes some anchor point shifts. This thought should have raised a bit of hope or excitement, yet instead, he shows signs of anxiety. Since you guys off on your other stuff, so I wanted to go on to that.
I'm just saying, it's fine.
It's whatever. How do you deal with it when she goes off on you? I've gotten better at it. You got better at it? I used to get really angry and emotional, but I kind of realized that my worth it. That's all I do with
This
it.
is stupid, I mean...
The worst thing to do is put your hands on it. I've never reasoned like that. You never put your hands on the rope? No. And it ended up on my playground. We had an argument
Come on, please.
a long ago. Later, it was like a long time ago. And she sat across the room because she didn't trust me. And I told her I could, yell and scream all I want. Do you text me love you, your name, but I would never.
I told you, I mean, you didn't.
That's just not what I do. Gregory repeats the statement that he would never lay his hands on his mother, and then makes some convincing character reference statements. It's clear that he's working really hard to be seen as a calm, non-violent person who couldn't have hurt his mom. It makes you wonder why he feels the need to emphasize this when she's just missing at this point. Sergeant Pagliari begins building a timeline. That this morning, I slept in, my alarm was not set. She woke me up around 6:20. I sleep in my clothes. So what you're wearing now is what you wore to school? No, I changed shirts when I got home. Okay, I was sweating. This is an odd detail. Why would Gregory even think of changing his shirt when he came home and found his house burglarized and his mother missing? But your pants and shoes and yes, and your socks. You got a shot? Yeah, okay. So 6:20 you slept in, okay? Okay, little Joe. Fired up, huh? She was angry. Okay, so now what happened? She said, hey, how you doing now? So brush your teeth and hop in the car. So I grabbed my backpack, I went and brushed my teeth, started up my hair, and messed with my hair a bit, and then I got in the car.
Someone should have stopped it.
So what time do you think you're at school? Honestly, I have no idea. You can look at your phone. It's probably in the ballpark of 6:40. Okay. It's certainly interesting that a few minutes ago, Gregory could remember the exact minute he got home, but now he honestly has no clue what time he got to school. Talk to anybody when you got there? Hey, what's up? You got a friend in school? Yes. Who you talk to? First person you saw at school with you. For a brief moment, Gregory unblocks by lowering his arms and leaning forward. He then brings his hands together before closing back off. Something about this line of questioning made him a bit uncomfortable. But why? How do you have a cat? Cat? Yeah. What a girl. You know, you got a lot of things? No. He's your friend, you're one last thing. I'm gonna keep you really. I don't really got that many friends. I'm not like a super social person. I have a lot of acquaintances. I have like a B grade, I have classes in the past, or B classes now, or C out from elsewhere. And so, yeah, that's what's going on. I think that what's your first period class, buddy? Biology. Who's that teacher? Mr. Ostowski. Oh, what you building that room, building everything else, you know, building. Building 3, floor 3. Oh, floor 3. I don't have the room number. You want to take a 7 spell on the last thing that's teaching? LATSOY, or maybe W, and C, I guess. Man, what? The guy? You like him? He's our teacher. I have a D in his class. You have a D? Yeah. Doesn't want to feel about that. We had an argument about it last night. Oh. Talk about that. We talked about it. Basically, she's like, you know, can't be doing this. And I was like, well, I got boys and people last quarter. I can pull my grade up before the end of the semester. And she was like, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Trying to copy and whatnot. I just know they were to fix it. Sergeant Pagliari has honed his skills when it comes to reading behavior. And he's picking up on some strange behavior from Gregory. Well, one thing that we said to him, like being excessive. Sometimes, in my personal experience, when people start a story and then they go on the blah 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 part, and there's more to the blah blah blah. So if you look at it, tell me what the blah 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 part was for this argument. Okay, well, basically she was just kind of like, you know, whatever, yeah, narcissistic sometimes, don't be so cocky. Using the word basically tends to indicate that someone is leaving something out. This, combined with Gregory's non-verbal behaviors such as self-soothing head rubbing, scratching, possible eye blocking, and his one hand tightly across his stomach in a protective and guarded posture, all seem to indicate that he's feeling a lot of anxiety. And I was like, well, I'm not cocky, I'm capable, I feel like I have the skills to get that before to get some grades in a short amount of time. And I was like, I'm probably fixing by Friday, and so I was talking to her about that. And she was like, alright, whatever, go study your biology. And I was like, alright. So I studied my biology for about an hour. And then I went to her room, and she was on the phone with Dad. I said, hi, Dad. And then they hung up, and I said, perfect, Friday night. And then I really should come up, and stuff like that. When people say and then, or jump to parts of their story by saying and, repeated a few times in a row, it tends to mean that they're going through events like their bullet points, and they're usually leaving something out between the ands. And I was like, I was fixing by Friday, so I studied my biology for about an hour. And then I went to her room, and she was on the phone with Dad. I said, hi, Dad. And then they hung up, and I said, perfect, Friday night. And then whenever she would come up, I put down stuff like that. Pay close attention to the moments when Gregory says, and then, as the questioning continues. And then I kissed her, and I went to sleep. That was around, I went to sleep around 11. That's when I woke up late. Okay, when was the first time somebody called you about, or did anyone call you about your mother not being at work or anything like that? I received no communication from anyone about that. Okay? With Gregory's school day seeming as normal as can be, the sergeant inquires about what he found when he got home that afternoon. Gregory gives some indication that he's feeling anxiety around the questions of what happened when he got home by fidgeting with his fingers, making anchor point shifts, and doing some self-soothing rubbing on his arm. It's important to note that an innocent person might also experience anxiety with these questions, as coming home to such a house after a robbery would be traumatic. However, it's still going to be noted by the detective. How long would you say it takes you to get from the bus stop to your house? 10 to 15 minutes. You won't run or anything, do you? Okay. Gregory makes even more interpoint movement shifts as this line of questioning starts, moving his leg up into a barrier position and engaging in some self-soothing as well.
I don't know how to use the key. My car was in the driveway. Correct. And you told me that you was running. It was running. Is that all? Yes. Is all the baggage in those cars even there all? Yes. Well, it was your first at the Sunrail station, and then she takes your bike on Sunrail to go to the job. I'm going to get home. So sorry. Cars in the driveway is running. That's weird. Cars there all. Weird. You agree? Yes. Then you came open the door. When he was first thing doing was, well, I noticed that there was all over the floor, like just a bunch of white crap everywhere, strewn everywhere. And then the closet doors were open, and there were stuff still on my table. I just noticed that the front view of my house was chaotic. But on the table where? On the table? What room is the table? Oh, my house, you go through the front door, and there's this hallway. My room is this way, and then there's a dining room table right here. And the next thing we did was in my room, and I noticed that there were things missing. And that there was dressers and crap, all that crap, just pulled out and just ran everywhere. It was missing from the room. Mainly, I didn't really look thoroughly for like everything that was in my room, but I noticed three things in particular. One of those upstairs, it's probably those three things. It's some of the it's a radio with two large speakers, and like the LED blue, you know what makes it? Zero foot. Zero was pretty popular. Yeah, a bunch of other things you're missing. A game computer, described his white has a glass side, and inside you can see the wires and graphics card and all that stuff inside, and it looks like it was like a tower and a laptop. It is, yeah. Big one. And had a good monitor and Facebook. Yeah, I paid for this for all that money from summer jobs and stuff. When you pretty pissed off, that's good. Yes. I'd be pissed off. Spend all your money and you can buy this computer tower now, so. Guess that's not
This is an interesting moment. It appears that Gregory doesn't want to show anger about his missing things, so he deflects it back to his missing mom to appear like the appropriately concerned teenager, but it all seems a little forced.
the third thing. I noticed, I have a 25, I forget the weight on it, but it's illegal conduct. It's conduct.
So you can tell that it's silly because of this silly photos of the
I
time.
just want to stop and enjoy the second.
While Sergeant Pagliari steps out of the room to make some calls, Gregory chats with Detective Jones.
You mean in my house will not be a crime scene? Oh, sometimes it takes hours, sometimes it takes almost a day and a half. I've worked cases like this where I have, it takes a while sometimes. And the more risk you can give them, better off it is, you know. They need to know what to do, where to go. I mean, a lot of that decisions in my life, with regards to these things, yeah, and it's just,
His answer here immediately grabs Detective Jones's attention, and he moves into the confession position. Gregory must have noticed because he quickly clarified with regards to other things, but it makes you wonder what exactly is his sponsor thinking in this moment.
Mom's gone. How you gonna reconcile with myself around you the best way? Cause you know how she's been started on a day to take hostage and her son and it was horrible, okay? Yeah, I do too, right? I can't imagine what it'd be like. Nothing wrong, don't you? After getting that yard with her last night, I could see right now what just saying about this feel like such dick after every argument we have. Because maybe angry. We don't understand each other. We're different people, we have different opinions, but we love each other. Yeah. You feel guilty about the fight a little bit?
There's nothing I can do because obviously I don't have the power to fix this.
Well, I hope she's safe.
It's just a bad
Say
time.
you want back.
I shouldn't have had to find out about that.
She give a hug.
Gregory makes a big mistake here. He slips up saying,
Well, I know she's safe.
he may have just given away not only what happened to his mom, but that he may know more about it than he's letting on. To cover, he starts to cry. But if you're wondering if he's actually upset, notice that he gets distracted and has to brush his hair out of his face. After the detective helps Gregory calm down, Pagliari comes back into the room with more questions, hoping to get any information from Gregory that might help them find his mother.
So you were talking about going through the house. You went down, took some inventories. And after I went downstairs, when my mom didn't find her, I went back upstairs, and I decided I needed to check on my dog.
He's so eager to continue his story that he actually interrupts the detective.
Going through the house, you went down, took some inventories. And after I went downstairs,
He seems pressured to go through what he did when he got home and to explain everything. This is really interesting because an innocent person shouldn't feel the need to explain things. It simply is what it is.
if the house was broken into, robbed, I thought there was a good chance they killed my dog. But, I mean, I know he didn't bark that much, but I didn't know if they were going to do that or whatever. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I walked into the laundry room and I saw everything this place running. But, my dog was fine. And that's when I noticed the door. The door, I can't stand and show you. You want to stand and show me? Okay. So, let's say this is the knob for the door. I have the deadbolt here. The deadbolt was unlocked, right? And this was locked. This entire wooden area on this frame was looking at combusted. Like the force of the door was so powerful that it had literally broken the wood. And I recognized that as someone kicking the door.
It's odd that Gregory thinks this is something he needs to demonstrate. It's more likely that he feels the need to burn off nervous energy.
Why do you think that? Because either that or they somehow forced the door open, but it had to be a strong enough force to break this, to break a lock, basically had to be strong to do that. Sure. So, did you think that, the force and energy you're talking about here, just because of that, based off your explorer training? Common sense. I'm just assuming, just thinking out loud, you have to be able to be, either strong enough or there needs to be, a certain amount of force for the wood on the door frame to, basically, crack and, make the lock get out. Sure.
As Gregory draws out a layout of his home for Sergeant Pagliari, he mentions something odd that he noticed in his mother's room.
I made the master bedroom and there was just really bad, terrible in it. And one thing I noticed was that the bed was an 18. What's it supposed to be?
What the hell is he doing? He's gonna say he keeps doing it.
Now, there's a dresser here. There's a dresser here. There's a couple bookshelves and there's a dresser here. And then, that's the bathroom.
There's been a shift in how Gregory answers these questions, and he's much more open to talking about things that have nothing to do with his mother.
So after I surveyed the house and looked for my mom, I called the cops. I'm pretty sure you know the rest of the story. Yeah. Did you see, okay. There's one thing I want to ask you about. You just came back from school and you wore different clothes in school. So you went through the whole house, everything. It was pertinent to change your clothes. Alright, let me tell you. So I was sweating my ass off, right? I was really hot and
Instead of just answering the question directly, he goes into a long story to explain his actions, which is another sign that he feels nervous about what he's saying.
I told my parents, and I think I told you this, I got in the house and I felt sick. I couldn't tell my mom. I was freaking out. I was just without road. I received the first broke down, and then I took off my school shoe.
You know what he's doing?
I didn't know there was any trouble, but I was feeling hot and sweaty, and I needed
Come on,
to
Frank, so what do you
where's the shirt at now?
think you
The 20th.
What do you mean?
Where's that? Okay.
Sergeant Pagliari clarifies one final detail before diving into Gregory's story. If things sound a little odd so far, because this is where things start to get even stranger.
You think the Joe was talking about the marks to your face? I want to talk about them.
No, that's so.
Alright, when did that happen? Can I ask what else has happened? Everything is relevant, right?
Asking about the relevance is the kind of thing you could expect to hear from an experienced criminal as a deflection, or from a savvy adult with a lawyer perhaps. But this is unexpected awareness on the part of a young, seemingly not criminally involved teen. He sounds like a defense lawyer here, not a kid. It also shows that he may be fishing to see what information they can.
Hey, listen, you know, Greg's mother's missing. Greg has marks on his face. Is it possible that Greg got some kind of altercation with his daughter? Right? Then you ask me that. Yeah. Okay. So then I need to explain when you got those marks on your face. Good. When? Yesterday? Yesterday? What time? After school? Or at student parking lot? What's the last name? It starts with an L. It's classic.
And he's doing a kiss balls. No, it's not simple.
Older than me? Older than me?
So what he's gonna put his cookies in the bean.
Why do you like this?
Fucks around.
Okay. Well, great thing. Joe L is in. Consideration is probably looks like I got my ass beat. Go ahead, cookies. I don't know what happened. Alright, so at homecoming, Joe's ex-girlfriend was attempting to
Coming from the
lie
one
on
laughing.
me. I don't know if you know what that is. Tell me what it is. It's like when you have, well, I've seen out with my friends. I like the friends, right? And they're being rained on, right? I don't have a girlfriend, and I'm kind of more focused on other things, and I don't have time for that. And so his ex-girlfriend, Joe's ex-girlfriend, comes with the grind on me, and I'm like, you know, I don't really want to do that. And she's like, no, come on, be fun. And so she did it, and I kind of let her, because I wanted to fit in, I guess. But Joe found out, so he gave it to me. He didn't push me. He did that. You know why he was doing that? And we talked to that. And I basically explained to him that I was at fault. I shouldn't have done that. I value more than those other people. You know, I value what we have, and I wouldn't want to.
I'm still upset that you
And
didn't come from
I want you to understand that I'm sorry. And that I really want to continue being friends with you. And he was like, you know, it was kind of a dick move for me to come up and hit you without any pretense. So I'm sorry that I did that. And aloud. And I said, stay tomorrow. And that was it. Is there anybody else that saw this? No. Not that I know of.
Not that I know of is a selective memory statement, but Gregory's entire story is full of red flags, starting with the neck rubbing. It's not particularly believable that most teen boys would get in a fight like that and make up that quickly, never mind hug, and not even know each other's last names. Either Gregory actually has no clue how normal interactions work, or he thinks the officers are that naive and dumb that they will believe this story.
So you were just in the parking lot, like, were you walking, were you hanging out? I mean, how did he hang out with my friends? So you were there in the parking lot with people? Yeah. Okay, well, can you name somebody with a first and last name? Brian Torres? Brian Torres? Torres. So, hold on. Here we go. P-O-R-E-Z. P-O-R-E-Z. So, Torres? Okay, well, great vegan. He's a senior. He's in the class with you? No. Yeah, no, he saw it all go down. So Brian Torres saw Joe L punch him in the face. Yeah, in the student parking lot yesterday at University High School. Yes. Okay.
Gregory's story story is now out in the open, but there are a few issues with it. While Sergeant Pagliari has been speaking with Gregory, another investigator has been verifying information with Gregory's school, and things just aren't lining up.
That's 100%.
That was funny, but
Yeah, that's it. You tell me that just every time it's yeah.
no, seriously, Pennington, that
You're in school all day.
takes it out. That sounds like it actually hurting you, fucking idiot.
Should I believe everything you told me, Greg? I mean, up to you. Well, here's the thing, okay? Do you think that I'm not gonna go or have some other detectives go and run down your story and verify all the stuff you do? Yes.
An honest person is much more likely to just say yes, or ask why wouldn't you, instead of a more confrontational answer like, it's up to you.
And when I do that, what are they gonna tell me? They're gonna tell you it's truthful. That you were in, you went to every class today.
What do I say? I'll do that to make a boy out.
So you didn't take yourself out of school today at one thing.
Say?
No,
Oh my. Did
so
you?
the school's wrong. So if the school tells me that Greg checked himself out of school today at 1:10 p.m., that's wrong. Yeah, I was there on that. Okay. So if Mr. Guy tells me you were in school today, in his class, he's wrong. No, he's not wrong, but I didn't need the school. So he lied to me.
And I would have to
I didn't need
fucking
the
stick
school.
with some
Yes, he lied to me. Period. I didn't give a damn what the guy's
I
lying.
like that. Alex, are you seeing this?
What happened?
Gregory seems to freeze a bit here, like he's trying to decide what his next story is going to look like. The detective just confronted him, and now he's entered the conflicting stage of the liar's work for this part of his lie. He now has to make his story fit into what the detective already knows. As well, the detective is doing a good job of slowly entering the confrontation stage of the Reed technique, bringing up piece by piece to see how Gregory responds. He's also sitting in the same position as Gregory. This kind of mirroring is meant to improve rapport and connection, even while confronting him.
Well, as you know,
Oh, the nose. Oh,
I'm
the...
in biology.
Oh, you're loving this. Oh, the Cunnington, really? Why would I be loving this? You're an idiot, Cunnington.
So I need biggish, huh?
You're being a pussy, man.
And you go
You're a
right.
dildo.
So I skipped into the auditorium 6th and 7th period, and I sat down and I took the time and I did my bio homework. And so I used it for bio because I'm missing Rick's homework assignment. I think I'm missing in total I'm missing 6.
Alexander eats out
So
of
supposed to check yourself out at 1:10.
Alexander
And then I should have passed into both of those classes. You check yourself out.
It's hard to tell if Gregory is being genuine, but if he's willing to lie about something like this, then what else could he be lying about?
Why do I make up stupid biology? Because I only know that opinion of me. Because I want you to understand I've done a lot of wrong things in my life. And I know it's not that I make the best decisions. But if something serious as this, when my mom is missing, I need you to, not have a benefit of me. What can you do with this whatever you tell? My job is not to get you to be better and do. My job is to get as much as I can for you to help find your own. Whenever you lie to me, even if it's a little bit, yeah, you lose some credibility. And you can get all upset and cry about it. That's just the way it goes, and how it goes. You hear what I'm saying? And then I get these things about, well, who's the guy who wrote it? I don't know. Something.
Birdie cat.
I didn't want to. I legitimately forgot his name for the first time I was
I
talking
got some
about.
liquor store and
These
back
things that
his
you tell
mother
me,
with a piece of
Rick,
blood.
especially when
Yeah,
you're
it's like a coke store.
when you're in school. Can anybody verify you or where were you when you did the biology?
Cool cities on the pants.
So I want to see you on camera in the auditorium doing your
Cool
biology.
cities on the
Yeah,
pants.
that's right. Okay, so if I don't see that, then I call you a liar again. Am I right to do that? Yeah.
Except take out the toilet.
So if I were to hypothetically just say, or just to say, not hypothetically, if I were to say that you went on last night, got in an argument with your mom, for whatever reason, the answer was apology, right? Because I know she told your dad, yeah, but you guys kept arguing about it. I already said that you went to school and then you came home.
Makes
Somehow you got home. I'm not sure how you got home, but you checked yourself out. Credited. You checked yourself out or you left school. Second out. You just left. Somehow you got home. You get home, something happened to your mom, or you and your mom got in the hands on and did something to your mom. You know, you brought that?
He's calling him his mother and someone's
You told
calling
your
him.
mom. Why did you think I would do that?
Following this accusation, Gregory freezes and pauses for a long time. Right now, he's been pretending that she's just missing, so this is a big jump. But Gregory's response is very suspicious. He doesn't show any anger or anything, as you would expect from an innocent person being accused. He just flipped it and asked the detective a question. He didn't even deny it, he just deflected.
You tell me, you had your ups and downs. You had marks on your face. You told me Joel was the one that punched you in the face. But before you didn't see that.
And I think some business choice, it's a
Yeah, I think it was there, I don't know. Oh, maybe my
grandmother can sing
Your credibility with me, Greg, is up and down. So again, when I ask you, but it'd be far-fetched if you came home today and killed your mother. Yeah. You did kill your mother? No. That'd be far-fetched. Yeah. Why? But she said you.
Like that takes a whole turkey, bangs it around in
This
his
is the first
ass.
big confrontation with Pagliari states. You killed your mom. He then attempts to build a theme that she's been hitting Gregory, offering him some kind of justification. But as the accusations against him become more and more severe, Gregory seems to realize that the only way to protect his innocence is to make some tragic and startling revelations.
Have you been assaulted? No. Have you? Yes. I have. I was assaulted. I reported to the police. They did nothing. Yeah. So, the only person that was really there for me were my parents. And specifically my mom. My mom was the one who helped me.
Makes him starts munching on Darkers out of the dumpster.
I attempted to more than once.
Starts munching on Darkers out of the dumpster.
She never put me on the accusation. She never called the cops. She didn't do any of that. She helped me through that time in my life where I was in a bad place. And she saved me from myself. I love my mom.
So grabs his arm, bends his... I think someone grabs his arm and bends his hand and grabs him and like
That's why we have problems,
The timing of his story is questionable. He seems to be trying to deflect from the accusation that he killed his mother and put himself into a victim role in the eyes of the detective. It's a fairly common tactic for narcissistic individuals to use threats or actions like this to manipulate others. He also makes really intense eye contact while leaning forward and seems to be trying to read if he believes his story. This position is similar to the confession position, but the officers don't have him to that point yet. He's just trying to manipulate them into believing him.
And I was explaining to the detective just earlier. I had gotten into an argument with my mom maybe a year ago. And she sat me across the room and she said,
Nikolai didn't have his nipples cut off.
and I said, why? She was like, what do you lay your hands on? And I said, I would never do that. Because I would never do that. I never did. I promise me I would never do.
Next time was terrible, so he starts going dog shit at the front door.
For sure, man.
He starts going dog shit at the front door.
So, do you want to know what happened to me? Yes. Do you want to, you want the same thing? Yes, you want to call my mom. I don't know nothing to do with it. I don't know what happened to my mom. And I don't.
Alexander sitting on Lexus curve.
I'm trying to think positively, but whatever. The point matters. Like I said before in our previous conversation.
Like I said before, is a reference statement and saves him from having to repeat a lie again.
I've made some mistakes in my life, and I regret them. And
Knocking his ass.
I'm the most mistakes. So you can understand.
Because he ran out of time.
I don't know what happened to my mom. The first thing I did, I don't know what happened to my mom. But as you know,
And he's gonna start
where it was,
he's gonna
I know how everything inspired. And
start
I know that
knocking his ass.
I love you a lot because I want to protect my name, but I realize now after you told me, after you asked me whether I killed my mom or not, I realized that there's something more important than just me, and that's my family. And in order to have my family and give them the answers they want.
Gregory is really trying to position himself as a good person by repeating how much he cares about his mom, family, and how great of a kid he is. A truly innocent person would likely not need to repeat this to convince anyone, as it would be obvious.
Make some like stick up in the refrigerator.
And so,
Instead of bites, you stick off in the refrigerator.
It's clear that he's used to being in charge, telling adults what to do, as it's very bold for a 15-year-old to tell a detective what to do, such as flip the page. As Gregory begins to spill the beans on the events leading up to the incident, his story sounds similar at first, but then getting a ride home from the police explorers the previous night, and getting into a fight with his mother over his grades. However, things took a shocking turn after Gregory supposedly went to bed that night.
around 11 o'clock on Thursday, I went to sleep. But I didn't really go to sleep.
Start smacking dog shit all over his ass.
I'm not allowed to have my phone right do something we'll discuss soon. So I go and, I probably cried until 12:30 until I went to my mom's room and got my phone.
As he launches into this story, Gregory includes a ton of unnecessary details to try to appear honest. This type of embellishment is an attempt to bury the story in the details. It's also interesting because it can help manage the anxiety of being dishonest by including all these signals for honesty in the story. With this many details, it's almost like he's attempting to derail the conversation away from finding his mom by going into so many tangents.
I then proceeded to call my friends.
Like sort of bites, he smells you on a plate, so this is not good.
And I snuck out my window and I got picked up by my friends. I then went to
that securities family with a section of garbage bins full of money.
and I forgot an hour.
Just before he launches into this story, he shifts away from everyone, back into the side, away from his sponsor. It seems like he doesn't want to be a part of this conversation anymore.
In that hour or two, I smoked on cigarettes, drank alcohol,
I sort of grabs his turns up and folded and starts bombing you over his own face.
and it's now 1:30. And I'm back. And we
That's
go somewhere.
downstairs and downstairs.
We're in the car. And then all my friends didn't come to pick me up. I was the one driving. And I wasn't. And while I had some drinks, I wasn't drunk. Unconscious, so I was driving my mom's minivan, and we drove to this church. There's a fire pit in the back. So me and my friends spent a bit there. I don't know if I'm still there, and we go back and forth between my house to get more money to go to 7-Eleven or other places and get food, drinks, or snacks in general. So we traveled a lot between this fire pit and my house, in which case, afterwards, and then it was like 5:45.
As he tells this story, it not only changes multiple times, and is filled with far too many details than necessary, indicating that he has a memory of extremes, but he's rubbing his nose, touching his mouth, fidgeting with a pen, and then puts his guard back up quickly. All of this indicates that Gregory is experiencing a high level of anxiety. Soon he will show his memory of extremes when he goes from sharing too many details to suddenly leaving something out.
I drove the van home, hopped in my house. I was wearing black boots and jeans, and
story once again aligns with the one he told earlier. His mom dropped him off at school and he went through his day like normal until the 6th period.
Mixing the plastic stick off in the toilet.
After the period, I met with my friends. We walked off campus. My friend's car, and we drove to my house. We picked up some more money. Then we drove to the fire pit again, and we started more shit there.
My life, and I know.
This is one of my friends.
She and me are children now.
I just forgot the name for him, but I just figured out I stole my mom's car. Like I did everything. I drove over to his house and I talked to him. And so this is one of the kids. And so we were just talking about like problems and how to deal with them and just all this shit.
Gregory is once again trying to make himself look like a good person and an honest person by telling on himself, and then bolsters this by including the story about helping his friend.
We were shooting the shit at this fireplace and smoking cigarettes and just kind of chilling.
Got plenty of love.
Then we basically and they dropped me off.
I don't wanna be foolish, Marcus.
And then
Note that Gregory says he basically went back home, along with a super extended and then, followed by a long
And
pause
now I'm
before
going
he
to
answers.
strangle myself on
He's
camera.
clearly skipping something, but he makes a full attempt at covering it up as it's pretty obvious, especially as there will be several more pauses throughout his story.
it's pretty much the same. I noticed my mom's car was there, the lights were on, I walked into the house, everything was everywhere, door busted, and all that shit, whatever, I already told you. Went through my house, looking for my mom, wasn't anywhere to found.
Get off me, Sadie.
Finally, after hours of interrogation, Gregory begins to divulge some of the truth. It face out, this information might not seem relevant to finding Gregory's murder, but Sergeant Padley has a suspicion that just might be more important to the case than anyone realizes.
Read my wheel. Ow!
Brian Forrest and Joseph Blair. And get out of the house. Bigger, better. Yeah. Wearing black boots. Black jeans, right? Oh, by the way, I promise you, I don't know what you're doing. Because it smell like snot. Okay. So black boots, black jeans. Wait, no, black jeans. Blue jeans? Yeah. And then pink or purple or gray or just standard blue. Yeah. Gray t-shirt. Yeah.
The detective appears to be trying to mirror Gregory's language, which is a pretty common tactic in report building. Mirroring verbal language serves the same purpose as mirroring nonverbal language. It helps with connection and trust.
So now it's you and Dylan. Who else? Brian. You picked up Brian and Dylan also? Yes. No, maybe not. There's no sir. Us three. Us, you three. You drank? What are you drinking? Alcohol. What's that? Like a beer, liquor, tequila? Tequila. Think about the tequila before Dylan. Tequila. Smoking what? Cigarettes. Cigarettes? Yes. And these guys, Dylan and Brian dropped you off today. At your house. Well, I told you they dropped me off. Right here. When they came, or no, where are we talking about? Where's that place they said they dropped you? This is Highbanks. So they dropped me off here. And I lost the rest of this one. So it's not possible that Dylan and Brian came to your house after they dropped you off? Stole your killed your mom. Is that possible? Why did you drive past me? Well, I have to ask because again, I'm trying to figure out what the hell happened to your mom. No, they're definitely accounted for because I saw them throughout the school day. And so if this whatever happened to my mom, I don't know what happened. But whatever happened to my mom, it happened during the school day. Obviously, just when I got home, she was there and the house was ransacked. So obviously something, whatever.
Gregory repeats the word obviously, which is a way to push his narrative. Remember, the more you repeat something, the more likely others are to believe it.
So none of that's missing. You didn't take to go trade for drugs or anything else. No. Okay. Did your friends? No.
Well, now I'm going to be a turn in an ass.
Now you understand that, hopefully you understand, that this could have been flushed out hours ago. Yeah. And so I want to give you some credibility. Like, what's that got to do with you said you wanted your answers? This isn't any answers from me. I mean, this is you going out, being a teenager, seeing your mom's car, and you listen. I thought you were going to tell me that you knew nothing your mom, like, you killed your mom or something. I don't know. I'm giving you my alibi. All my mom.
Stating that he's given his alibi is certainly odd, and rather than actually denying being involved, Gregory seems to be fixated on his story.
Okay. It's not all me, alright? I'm here to help you. I'm not trying to get hostile. It's just the fact that you have to understand that you've been told this before, and now did this guy Joe punch you in the face yesterday? Is that legit? Yeah, it is.
This is the first time we see Gregory get really flustered, though we've seen him do a lot of self-soothing throughout. Perhaps he's realizing he's still not out of the woods, but little does he know, this interview is not going to go the way he hoped.
Okay, so Brian saw the guy punch him in his face. Did Dylan see this guy punch him in his face? I'm putting that. Okay, but Brian's gonna vouch for you. Yeah, okay. Just making sure, because again, if you can't understand that I'm taking some of the things that you say with a grain of salt,
Making Gregory think that his friends might not corroborate his story and planting a seed of doubt that his friends will give a different story, the detective is using the prisoner's dilemma to try to get him to be honest.
then I will understand. Okay, but yeah. So neither one of them know that my mom is missing.
Sergeant Pagliari gives Gregory one last chance to tell the truth before they verify his story with evidence.
I want you to look at me real quick, so I want you to understand the magnitude of it. Okay. So earlier in our conversation, I've been very transparent with you. I told you some of our tactics and things that we're going to do. I told you that we're going to verify your story, right? Yes. Okay. So one aspect of your story obviously is run down Brian and Dylan. Okay, but you said you were with last night, and here you're with today, okay? Correct. So think carefully about this. Okay. What do you think Dylan or Brian is going to say? Yeah. Look how they act with you, don't they? Or we'll verify every aspect. Why would they act that they don't know you? They don't want to get involved. Involved in what? Like, involved with my problems? I guess I don't know. One matter is, yeah, if you run down and ready to do that, whatever you want to do, like right now we're doing. There you are. Yeah. They'll verify this, right? They're going to do that. They'll verify what I'm saying. Which is that you have nothing to do with the murder of your mother. My mom was murdered. What do you think? I don't know. I don't think she's murdered.
While Gregory continues to sit in the hot seat, two other detectives sit down with his friend Dylan Sidlari. Little do they know, Dylan is about to break their case wide open.
Yeah, what's going on, man? Not much. I even stay with them protecting the sheriff's office back in my car. So mind doing over your time? Yeah. You already have an idea.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't want to do it.
Topic right there. I said, we have good friends. I mean, as long as we're not like super close. Okay. What is he super close with? I'll talk to him. I'm sure that I know. I'm not like too close friends myself. So, okay. Who are your close friends?
No one wants to know. He said that might as well die. Okay, this is I don't think I should die for this.
Corrrs. You know that getting Joey Jr. or something like that? I knew you friends with Clay. No.
It's just a tree.
I mean, I don't know people's names really, so like I might have seen them, but I don't know.
While this isn't definitive proof of whether or not Gregory's story so far has been true, there seems to be some discrepancies in the statements given by both of the boys. Dylan doesn't know who Joel is, and maybe it's because there's an entirely different reason that Gregory has scratches on his face. Not only that, but he also seems to be downplaying his relationship with Gregory. According to Gregory, he had saved Dylan from taking his own life. It seems strange that Dylan wouldn't consider Gregory a close friend after such an incident.
Have you ever gone to Greg's house? Yeah. I'm very close. Okay. When do you think last time was you were? Probably last time I worked with him. I think. Yeah, last time I worked with him, so like Saturday. Okay, so
something like a piece of fucking
so
nonsense.
that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Everything's fine except his mom. That's the problem. His mom is gone. We don't know. We have no idea where it's playing.
Everybody in my life is a
And that's why we're here talking to you, because we know you're friends with Glenn. Yeah, it's just very fun. Yeah, but it's fine. It looks like he got my fight. Said he got my fight there. School, which is why we were trying to figure out what was going on there. So just filling with all the leads and plots we can. So
For now, Dylan is aware that he needs to watch everything he says, but later on, he won't be so careful. As soon as he mistakenly thinks the cameras aren't rolling, he will make some truly shocking statements without realizing he's being recorded.
she's missing today? Yeah, she's missing today. She's missing right now. And they have no idea.
fuck is this?
There's some funny little circumstances over here that where we just, it's just abnormal. And abnormally to get a bunch of detectives out here. Yeah, we were both at home and they called us and they need to get us. Yeah.
With some general information gathered from Dylan, the detectives start verifying his story.
The only time you saw Greg today was in the morning and in the afternoon at lunch, and you haven't seen him since. I didn't really see him then. You didn't really see him. Like, I didn't face-to-face kind of thing. So, walking. That's
Just saying,
when,
come on, I'll
after lunch, and then before I left. Okay, but not out of school. Greg never left or Greg never left with you guys at all? No. How's it been?
It's clear that Dylan and Brian are incredibly close and seemingly spent the day together. Wanting to make sure that they have every angle on this story, detectives are sent to question Brian as well.
Yeah.
Detective Jones. Yeah, man. Talk to you. So, step over quick. Sorry, just woke me up. Sorry, man. We need to talk to you about that burglary happened over at Greg's house today. You know anything about it? He messaged me that something happened, that's all I've heard though. Yeah. Did you see Greg today? That's cool. What time? From last I saw him was lunch. Did you see him after lunch? What? Did you see him after lunch? No, that's really one of the last times I saw him,
So far, it seems like Brian and Dylan's stories are adding up. However, it doesn't take long before Dylan makes a mistake.
Sure, we're going to have how do I describe this? A mean streak per se. Ever see him get angry? Angry, yeah. Any indication that he has is there a lot of anger built up? Is there a lot of animosity against anything or anyone? Yeah. What's he have anger about? Just, he's like a human, Did you ever see him snap? No. I never seen that. How do you know he has anger? Just, I just see him say about stuff. What kind of things? I didn't really ask about it. It's not really my How did he act when he was angry? I mean, does he shut down? Does he get fired up? Does he shut down? He just doesn't. Has he given you anything to hold his from that house? Last week you let me borrow, if you want that. Where'd you borrow it for? Actually don't even know how to shoot it. So where'd you borrow it for? That was cool. So you gotta just be cool out in the room? Yes. I like play stuff like that. What would you gonna do it about? Look at it? Yeah. And we're gonna shoot it all? I don't know. There's an arrow with it? No. There's the dog. Yeah, shoot it. That kind of seems odd though. That's gonna never shot at the lead gun. Yeah.
This is an immediate red flag for the detectives. Gregory had listed his bow as one of the items that were stolen from his house. If Dylan has possession of the bow, that means either he stole it or Gregory lied to the sergeant.
I'm gonna ask you a couple more things. Yeah, so I found the information about to give me straight break that's now.
It's mine.
Okay. You and Greg left
It's fine together.
You didn't walk up campus today? I walked up campus. Did Greg walk with you? I walked up. You walked with Greg. Is what? It's driving.
The only thing I can do is green is keep people's lives out.
Me and Brian
Because he's nothing but a piece of shit and he deserves to
Although
die.
Dylan is
God
claiming to
knows
be
what
telling
he's
the
done.
truth, his story is quickly starting to contradict Brian's.
So, I picked up Greg this morning, right? After I picked up Dylan. And then the morning times I really don't talk to them, I just pick them up and bring them to school because I'm tired. I'm not a morning person at all. And I went to school, went through my classes like usual. Lunchtime I saw them again. And then after lunch, that's really like one class time I saw. So, times a week, sometimes he goes to 7, sometimes he doesn't. The time that you leave school. And sometimes I leave.
Brian repeats the question here to give himself some time to think about his answer. He will repeat part of the question again in a moment, making you wonder why he needs to think about this answer when it should be easy to remember.
I left after 5th period. Who did you take with you? With me, it was me, Dylan. And, right, but I took him to go. I took him back to his house.
As the detectives continue to dig for the truth, Dylan eventually cracks.
Walked up in as soon as to his house. He gave me stuff to hold him. What stuff? I can show you. That. Tell me what Alice was. He gave me his damn laptop, his damn PC. He gave me his better card today. He gave me his personal computer too, and the book. And the book. Why? So there's a laptop, a gaming laptop, a PC, it's a gaming PC. Okay. Gaming PC. What else? Why did he give it to you all? Did he tell you? He was later in trouble, so he gave me it. And I drove off, I came here. I put it in my closet. And I went to work. After he gave me the stuff, I went to work. I didn't do anything else. I have a job to do. Why did he say he was giving me that stuff? What kind of trouble is he in? I don't know what kind of trouble is he in. But not there. In the house, so it really is going up. So he told me to take myself and I get what it was looking like. So you got to the house with Greg and Brian. You said right here. Did Brian get out? Did you all go inside the house? We got to the door. You ran. I was inside. I see it all messed up. You ran out, gave me that, gave me the book. He threw a couple other things that ended up just throwing out. And then I came back here. What did he throw out? He threw out like a computer and a printer and just like small stuff like that. Threw it out where we just run around dumpster.
Someone plays.
What is this random dumpster? Dixie parking lot.
With this confession from Dylan, all of the supposedly stolen items mentioned by Gregory are now accounted for. As detectives try to find out what kind of trouble Gregory might have been in, Dylan makes a shocking and disturbing confession.
Sorry for lying. I know. But now's the time to get it all out. All of it. So tell us what happened. I mean, he's done this much. He's given you personal items for you to hide, or to hold. That's not suspicious to you, and it's not suspicious to you that you guys hold it. Yeah. It's okay, man. It's not on you. Pretty much what happened. Me, Brian. You're right. He's not. And you called me, Brian. Hey, I'm a bit happy. He wouldn't say it on the phone. So, me and him go get him. And he gets in the car. And he says, I did it. I really did it. I killed my mother. So we drove to school. That day, we left early. And we get back to the house. He says, take this. Greg did say something happened between him and his mother. It was kind of fuzzy because he seemed like he was kind of shooken up. So he said something happened, and so he said he was really shooken. So he told me something about how his house is messed up. So we went over there, and he asked if I could take some of his stuff, right? He said he would get rid of some of the stuff in his house. So we go in there, and we grab some of the stuff out of his house. So he did go in the house.
Okay,
Yes, and we put it in the tractor. And he told us what needed to be like kept and what needed to be thrown away. So we stopped and we threw away, like you said, the printer, the jukebox. Yeah. Where else did we stop? The church. Right up there in Hydings. What happened at the church, buddy? Greg had he put one of the, like, a trunk. He put that in the water. What was in the trunk, buddy? A whole bunch of random stuff. Like just junk that you see like the garage sale.
After hours of investigation, interrogation, and turmoil, detectives finally are getting to the truth. Despite having this horrid information, there's still so much they need to know, but Brian is still reluctant to admit one crucial detail.
What was said? What did Greg tell you? Don't cover up for Greg. I know that's what he said. He said it, then he said it, and then, you did what you did, and that can be explained. But don't sit here and just continue to lie to us, alright? You know that. There's more than one person here. It's not just you. Remember that.
By stating there's more than one person here, the detective is clearly using the prisoner's dilemma with Brian.
There's two other parties involved. It's not just you, okay? So it's not like we came here blind looking for answers. Yeah, I can tell that by all you guys already know and all that, so just tell us what he said. He said that he told me to like argument, but not really argument, but he told me to like, it's hard to say. It's honestly. Just say it. We probably already heard it. He said that he killed his mother, and I didn't really believe it, so.
Brian's great.
Okay, alright?
With both boys having claimed that Gregory killed his mother, the detectives are inclined to believe that they're telling the truth. Although Brian is claiming that he didn't believe Gregory's claims, it's hard to imagine that he wouldn't get suspicious after helping stage the crime scene. No matter what Brian or Dylan want to believe, they helped their friend cover up the brutal and shocking murder of his own mother. As the detectives prepare to inform Sergeant Pagliari about what they've learned, one of them notices that Dylan isn't doing too well.
Yeah, you okay? I know your history. I just want to make sure that you're not thinking about harming yourself or anything. Dylan, you okay? I know it's tough. You let anything for it. You don't feel anything for what? What do you mean you don't feel anything for it? There's a legal party that knows that you feel bad, but I can't feel anything for it. Listen, just do what you're doing. Sitting here talking to me, okay? I can understand. You're probably not feeling anything because you haven't really processed it. You haven't processed it.
While one detective comforts Dylan, the other is quick to get Sergeant Pagliari on the phone and let him know what they discovered. Armed with this new information, Pagliari sits down for one final confrontation with Gregory. But even with everything they know, none of them could have been prepared for what exactly Gregory would say.
Do you think, and I'll ask you this, I've asked this before, okay, because in your hearts of hearts, looking at me face to face, are you a man of integrity? Do you know what that is? I do know this. Okay. Are you a person of integrity? I don't think I have the best character. I think I have character flaws, but I'm enough to really, I try to be as honest as possible. And when I'm not, it's because I'm being selfish. I admit that. I tend to be selfish.
I think he's playing something fried.
But, okay. Here's all I'm going to do. I'm going to live in my life. Everywhere. And I'm going to ask you, did you kill your mother, take things from your house, distribute them amongst your friends, come in here today, and lie to my face, and say you didn't do that? No, I didn't do that. You didn't kill your mother. Okay.
Notice Gregory's complete stillness. He's working as hard as possible to lie. He's making constant, intense eye contact, and then has no reaction to the accusation. An innocent person would be furious or completely shocked at being accused, angry their friends turned on them. It would show, but from Gregory we see almost nothing.
Alright, so, sit back down. I don't believe you. Why? Well, the good news about it is that all the things that were missing from your house we found. Alright, you tell me. I give you a clue. One of your buddies. Are you saying my friends robbed my house? Is that what you took out of this? Then I'm saying that your friends robbed your house. The same friends who, by the way, were at school all day and who dropped you off. You're all pretty little map here, but remember this. They dropped you right here on High Banks, whatever the hell this road is. And I asked you earlier, is it possible that your two friends could have went to your own house and killed your mom and taken those things? And you said that's impossible because it would have had him driven past you and then you would have saw. Time is up, Greg. Time is up. We found the stuff. Okay? Your buddy turned us on to it. Now you need to tell me what happened, because they've already told me what happened. Told my pals what happened, so you need to come to Jesus. You're a religious man. You played with your mom. You need to tell me what happened. So what did they tell you? I'm not telling you what they told me, so I have to tell you what they told me. You tell me what happened. I already told you what happened. Tell me you didn't kill your mother. I didn't. Who killed your mother? I have zero clue. Who took it? Your house. Well, you just told me. Apparently it's my friends. And when did you think they did that? I have zero clue. Do you honestly believe the things that are coming out of your mouth? Yeah? So when your buddy says that You told him you killed your mother. He's lying.
After being backed into a corner, Gregory remains silent for quite a while before something snaps inside him and divulges one of the most chilling confessions we've ever heard.
Whatever. Alright, I'll tell you what happened. Alright, so I got home, I got an argument with my mom. She slapped me across the face. She began to hit me. She started beating me. I didn't like it, so I strangled her to death. I put her in a wheelbarrow. I put her in my car. I took the car. I had a mental breakdown where I was committed 3 times.
As he talks, Gregory adds in, I almost had a mental breakdown and thought about taking his own life, even as he's in the middle of admitting to killing his mom. He still wants to appear to be the victim. This is very classic narcissistic thinking and behavior.
I drove around Daytona. I dropped the wheelbarrow in some random location. And I rode back to church. I began to dig a hole. I dig a hole right in the fire pit. I dug 3 people. Yeah, even so good about him. Alright? All this time I'm on stupid broken body. I dragged it from my car to the fire pit. In which case, I tried to put the lighter off her finger because I wanted to climb it, but I couldn't because I didn't have a nice car and stuff. And so, well, whatever. Anyways, so I dug that hole, threw her body in there, filled back in, made it look nice and natural, dumped my clothes, and then I went home, and I caught her right in school with my friends. And yeah. What about the part that you staged a crime scene? Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Oh, so, in the middle of the night, I realized that, hey, my mom just up and disappeared. That's not gonna make any sense. So, I said maybe it looked like a botched robbery, so I just went to my house and I just searched everywhere. Which was pretty convincing. I mean, yeah. And yeah, again, not what I want to hear. Why did you drag your 2 buddies into this and give them the stolen? Because I needed to get rid of it.
Gregory's complete lack of remorse is disturbing, to say the least, and it only gets more horrifying as he doubles down.
I think you have to realize that with my mom beating up and hitting on me, it wasn't like me being like, I waited ages for this. And then I killed her. No, this was extremely out of impulse. I've been beaten, so I just was like, done with it. So yeah, rather than strangled her. So it was out of complete impulse, which doesn't make it better, but one way I was shaken up, obviously. So, your mother talks to your father on the phone. When did you strangle your mother? I don't know. 12?
It's not my fault. There's only because he's not my fault. It's already called that.
In the room? Which room? Her room?
It's not about that.
Sleeping?
It's not
No,
my
she woke
fault.
up. She woke up after you had your hands around her throat? No, she woke up when I entered your room. And what happened then? She said, what are you doing? What did you say? And I said, listen, you understand that I was not, the stuff that was on my face right now was a lot worse, and I wasn't feeling good, and I said, why did you have to hit me? I said, you said that you wouldn't do that, you did it anyway, so I couldn't do that. And she's like, well, whatever, blah, 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 you stop. Yeah, whatever, blah, 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 we covered that. I don't want to hear what she said. She was like, well, you're being a dick. Is that really important? Leave it out now. Oh yeah, it's important. I want you to tell me, no. Is that really important? Not important. Is that really important? I'm not being a dick. I already explained to you the conversation that I had with her, right? It's still not biodegrade. It's still about us, right? And it's the same conversation I had with her. But, it's the same conversation. It's just, like I said, escalated the screaming and yelling, and then she started hitting me. I did not hit back. I did not punch her back. Because like I said, I wouldn't do that.
Gregory is making a lot of referral statements by saying, like I said, over and over. He's trying to find a way to maintain his story wasn't complete lies by pointing out the pieces of truth he said before.
Until I realized that if I let her keep on beating me around and basically letting her just do whatever she wanted, that eventually it was going to be me or her. And so I made a decision.
According to Gregory, his mother's murder was a preemptive self-defense, but that doesn't justify such a horrifying and unforgivable crime. He continues to share more grisly details of the cold-blooded attack.
Put your hands around her neck. She facing you when you did it? Yeah. You extend your arms and put your hands around her throat. Yes. And squeeze. Yeah. What did she do? I mean, what can you do in that situation? You tell me what she was doing. Well, I forced her onto the ground and I was strangling her. And she was trying, she was calling my arm, she was whatever. I mean, you can probably see on my hand where in this crease here, I was putting so much stress on it because I was over it. I realized that it was either her getting so angry at me one day that she just takes out a kitchen knife and stabs me, or it was me getting so angry with her that I strangled her to death. So I took the liner because I don't plan on, I didn't want her to kill me. I didn't think that was fitting. I wouldn't have broke down. So I just took action instead.
Gregory seems to really struggle to come up with an explanation here. I didn't think that was fitting, his particularly odd phrasing in the middle of a confession. Though he admitted he killed her, he's trying his hardest to make it self-defense with a roundabout justification. Though it sounds completely unbelievable, it's likely he's probably actually convinced himself of this.
You throw her, you force her to the floor, and you choke the life out of her. And then if you do, I felt nothing. I only think 30 minutes. You choked your mother on the floor to death for 30 minutes. Yeah. I didn't know she was dead. Okay, actually, let me rephrase this. I choked her to death, and I thought she was dead, and I went to go get the wheelbarrow, and then she was moving, so I had to get back on top of her and finish the job.
He said it was great. Shall I talk to him, or what do you suggest I do? Well, yeah, I mean, it's really not, I don't know. But he just went a second story. They said he was Greg. No, yeah, I don't know how to react to that. I mean, Greg? Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there, but something's going on. He didn't even want to go to, there's something. Yeah. Where's Alexander? I don't know what you're talking about. What? He doesn't know what I'm talking about, brother. Did you just hear that? Yeah, I did. He doesn't. How does he not know? Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. So you don't know who Alexander is? No, I never heard of him. Oh. You see, there's no saying he's never heard of Alexander. I'm confused. He's never heard of Alexander. No, I'm confused. Like, what? He's never heard of Alexander? Okay, now that this is, weird. He said he's never heard of Alexander. Okay, no, that can't be right. I mean, that's his name, isn't it? Well, not according to him, though. He said that he's never heard of Alexander, so just have to respect that, But if it's not Alexander, who is he? Or did he say he was Greg or something? Oh, yeah. Listen, we can talk about this. I'm not Alexander. I'm not. Who the hell is Alexander? Okay, this is not. It's all on social media. When you're on the social media, you see that where it says, on the passport, it's going to find your name. That's your name. How do you not know that's your name? You've always known that's your name. You're a person. Do I even know you? Are you kidding me right now? Now he's acting like he doesn't know me. Like, what is this? I don't know, 27. This is not right. And you know he's acting like he doesn't even know me. Like, what? Of course you know. You know me for almost 16 years. You couldn't forget that. Okay, you can answer that one. I mean, you could. What am I supposed to say? You could never forget that. I mean, it's almost 16 years, and then don't tell me you forgot. I can help you if your sadness made you forget. Find your moan or whatever. I mean, maybe you just need jogging of your memory. What was that for? Alexander's not here. Not at this time. What do you mean Alexander's not here? You wouldn't understand, Teddy. Oh, so you do know who I am. Don't turn this around on me. Well, then why are you... Alexander's not here. I don't understand. What? Now you don't even know who you are. No, saying that I don't do it. You wouldn't understand. That's why I'm not, I wouldn't, that's why I'm not going to explain it, because you wouldn't understand anyway. Well, I'm sure I would understand. Why would I not understand this? Can you say you're not Alexander? Yeah. Why should I be Alexander? If I'm Alexander, I'm just what, like a broken man? I mean, how could she do something like this, especially my own arms? Well, how do we get Alexander back? You want Alexander back, do you? Fine, maybe there is one way, and you're not gonna like it. I think it would have a choice. No, you wouldn't be able to. My aunt can. mom takes back what she said. And then maybe I'll think about it. Until then, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not Alexander. Alexander, as far as I'm concerned, Alexander's not here. What did you want the son? I wanted to set the mom so that the children love you. They might not Alexander their son. That's not enough though. Yeah, I have a witness of Mr. Schumacher, but I still wanted to take back what she said. Yeah, yeah. I won't rest until she does. I won't be Alexander again until she does. Just like that. But yeah. Yeah, Alexander's not here. But he won't be until, selfish. Takes back what she said. That's an awful lot of thing to say. But, yeah, to someone like Alexander. Couldn't waste my life. She better take back what she said. Okay, can I play some bluegrass? Nah, I'm good. Yeah, this is no, Alexander's not here because obviously he clearly wants her to take back what she said. Unless she takes back my will. This is a problem. Unless she takes back what she said, he's not here. He's not Alexander unless she takes back what she said. Yeah, I feel like she never should have said that in the first place, because that's really set him off. Now he doesn't even want to be Alexander anymore.
And then once she was resisting when I was dragging her dead body across the floor, I knew she was dead.
Gregory continues with his crude and detached tone as he describes how he disposed of his mother's body.
Well, listen, dead bodies are heavy. They're a pain in the ass to carry. I was like, alright, well, this is easy. Simple fireman's carry, right? I mean, pick her up, whatever, put her in the car, throw her in there. Nah, this is heavy. So I got the wheelbarrow, I drove her out to the stairs, and then I positioned the wheelbarrow on the way so I could basically muscle her body into the wheelbarrow just perfect enough to where I could get her into the car, actually into the wheelbarrow without having to, whatever, bring my back. So you take her to the car. Where do you put her in the video? I just shoved her in the very back. But yeah, open up the trunk, just kind of. I put 2 belts around her legs, and then I dragged her into the car. 2 belts around her legs and dragged her into the car? Yeah, I tied 2 belts. I had a belt around her ankle and a belt around her ankle, and then I tied them together, and then you said like a crotch. So you were in the van and just dragged her, from inside the van and dragged her from the wheelbarrow into the back of the van. Yeah, it was a bit to do, but yeah, I did it.
As Gregory describes his next steps, we get a fascinating glimpse into the twisted mind of a teenage murderer.
So you pull her into the back of the car, and then where do you go? Well, I threw a wheelbarrow in there, and I was like, and I got my shovel, and I was like, okay, let's do this. Whatever, it's easy. And yeah, no, then I had another breakdown. I was like, oh shit, whatever. Whatever, what's that mean? Fill it in, whatever I was doing, whatever.
The repeated blah 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 statements show the fascinating but disturbing dichotomy of how Gregory presents as intelligent as well as very childish. This is the hallmark of most teens, but it's extremely chilling when tied to discussing murder.
Basically, I was basically reasoning with myself, do I did it or to live? And I realized that I did the thing I did out of self-defense. I mean, sure, she wasn't hitting me in the moment, but it would have eventually just gotten worse and worse and worse. It's always gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. But it was just a matter of time. I was on the highway, I was driving and then I realized, I had lots of thoughts going through my head. My original thought was, what if I just dump my mom's body in some random ass location with a wheelbarrow, and then I just go make on the run, just go on the run, right? And then I was I have my sister's house in Michigan, yeah, but she just threw me to the cops, and whatever, I'm not gonna get how many hours they find her body, so it's not worth it. And I was like, well, I could just go into oncoming traffic. I mean, it's really busy in this area for some reason. I could just move my car into oncoming traffic and myself. And I was like, nah, pussy ass way to go. I'm gonna do that. Right? So I just decided, I guess we're just back to square one. So I'm gonna go back to where I started.
Gregory continues to narrate the account, and he doesn't hesitate to share the disgusting details about what he did to his mother's body.
Body back to the church, and dig the hole, realized that my phone flashlight wasn't going to be enough, go back to the house, get a new flashlight, and this is, by the way, this is me, when I'm talking about me going back to my house to get money, it's just me trying to make excuses for my phone being in certain places. I should have just trashed my phone like I did with my mom's, but I didn't really want to do that, because I was listening to music, and whatever, I was in your car anyway, so there's no point. And so I get a couple candles, I get flashlights, I get whatever, and get the area lit up, dig, realize that the body smells terrible, you're still a dead body? Is yours still a dead body? You ever have? Yeah, there's so much.
Casually listening to music while digging a grave, and be so comfortable discussing the smell of his mother's dead body, showed his complete lack of empathy, beyond the remorselessness he's displayed so far.
So I was like, getting run up, so I went to my house, grabbed a can of bleach, and I was like, okay, when I get a body in there, I'll pour a bleach on it, and just make it smell sterile before I cover it back up with dirt. I was like, that seems like a pretty good plan, whatever.
There's been another shift in Gregory's speech patterns. As soon as he decided to confess, he's now talking a lot faster. This is most likely his normal way of talking, as before he was concentrating on being deceptive.
So I worked at the whole, like, what, 4:30? And I was like, alright, so we dump the body and then we fill back up, and then at 5:30 go back. So then we, myself. Okay, so you're talking about leaving to yourself, nobody else is there. This is just you. Yes, me. So, anyways, done the hole, so kick the body in the hole, but it doesn't fit, so I had to, kind of cram her in there. I don't know if I broke any bones, whatever. Put the bleach on her, put the dirt over her, and I mean, when you go out there, you'll see it. Doesn't look like there's anything. And you ask the hole, what'd you do? Well, it was a fire pit. So, I literally just threw the dirt back on it, moved her out around, looked perfectly fine. So she's in the fire pit, or under the fire pit, yeah, okay.
And yet another shocking twist. Dell's body wasn't the only thing Gregory hid in the woods that night.
What else is in the woods? What else is in there? The broom I used to sweep the drag marks away. Okay. Because when you're dragging a dead body, as I said, I crashed the wheelbarrow on all the other last minute because I still need to get the body from the trunk of my car and bring it down to this area, right? But I realized whatever, blah, blah, dumb. So I wasted maybe an hour and a half. I probably would have gotten away with it. But I just wasted an hour and a half really to come to terms with what I did. Anyways, I dragged her body with the two belts I had tied to her ankle that dragged it all the way to the fire pit. And, like when you're dragging a dead body on leaves and palm fronds and whatnot, that collects quite a lot of to be trained. So is there anything else? You said the shovel in the woods, the broom in the woods, how about any stolen stuff that you took from the lake marsh? Yeah, there's nothing big, it's like all small. There's no tucked in there because no one wanted it and I had to get rid of it. So the cash is so much in the lake behind the fire pit, but it's probably all whatever. By the way, in the woods by the fire pit, I don't know, I didn't point out exactly, but there's two laptops and a 30 caliber gun right behind the fire pit in the woods. And obviously you know the rest of the stuff is. Manu, go back to before you left your house with your mother's body and started staging the crime scene. Is that where you took some stolen stuff? Yeah, well not stolen. You took what did you take out of the house first, and then why your mother's body was in the van? Well, I just kind of figured, like, well, I need to get everything out. I was like, well, not everything, but like, I was like, how can I make this look legit? I was like, I can't just like make my mom disappear and like head to school and be like, oh, everything's okay. No, that's not how it works. So I need to make it look like something happened, like botched robbery or something. And yeah, I've gone inside it though. I hate to work. It looks quite nice. Okay, it looks quite legit.
It's weird. Why is there all this from up here still? There's a broken glass here.
Oh yeah, it looks so legit. That's why Gregory immediately ended up in the interrogation room confessing right now.
Basically, I just did everything. I read everything about it. And I just threw the van. And yeah.
As Sergeant Pagliari works to understand the rest of this disturbing story, Gregory takes every opportunity to flaunt his horrendous ego.
Now, but some of the stuff you did in your phone, why did you keep some of your stuff after school? Yeah, I mean, there wasn't any time. I was planning what I was going to plan to do. I was going to drive up to the sun around, leave my mom's car there, dump the body somewhere, and make it look like she went to Orlando, and then she just got whatever. And I think actually, if I hadn't botched robbery, I just kind of drove the car up there and then lost the bike and gotten picked up by my friend. The guy like just kept hush hush about it. And I told my mom put her under the fire pit. You never would have never caught me because you probably think I did that she got mugged and her hand don't die. And that probably would be a lot more sense. But I didn't think it through because I was impulse thinking and I was doing everything on a whim. So if I had more time to think it through, I probably would have done it things, but it's whatever. Okay. So you went to school though. Okay, how did you get to school? Brian built it in front of my house. I was wearing jeans covered in dirt, as well as boots covered in dirt. You'll find it in the woods with the broom and the shovel. But I was wearing a shirt. I just grabbed a random shirt and some soap in a washcloth. And then when I got to school, I wiped all the dirt off me, the excess blood that was on my face from my mom hitting me. And I cleaned myself up, and then I went to school, and I picked nothing up. So then you go to school like nothing's up, right? Let's just go to class for a little while, right? Yeah, class. When I take the free math, might as well enjoy it. Okay. So you call your friends? Or that's it. You, whatever. Well, your two best buds are the ones you really care about, right? I know they screwed me over in the end, so whatever. We'll first keep the secret, Greg. Yeah. You, when did they find out that you killed your mom? When they picked me up, because I was covered in blood, which is my blood, but I was covered in blood and dirt, and I was wearing a shirt, and I had soap, and I put the happened, and I was like, well, Brian called you last night. He's like, yeah, I know. And I told Dylan. Okay, so then what was their reaction? Apathy? Tell me, scrub, elaborate, they didn't care. They didn't care. They thought you were foolish. I mean, well, yeah, they thought I was foolish. They thought something bad for what I did, which was after school. Yeah. And then after school, you took them to the church. Yeah. And then you just started digging out. Yeah, I said, take what you want. Knowing that your mother was dead, and you told her to take what you want, and they would do with that? Yeah, okay. Who took what?
There's now no denying that Dylan and Brian helped Gregory cover up his mother's murder, and the two are detained while Sergeant Pagliari wraps up Gregory's interrogation.
Well, how about the part, I gotta say, I was impressed with the kicking of the door. Did you do all that yourself? Oh, no, I had those two do it. Okay, so again, more things that he guys did. Yeah. Right, so tell me about that. Well, I was like, hey, I need help to stage in the crime scene. And we're like, okay, well, you. So both of them together kicked in the door. Yeah, it was very impressive. Okay. You guys have this on video or anything? Did you tell me about this? No, I wish I had it on video. That would be graphic. That'd be great. I know. But I'm sure if you dust her footprints on her door, you'll find her shoes. Okay. You'll find it all over the house as well. But then we went into my mom's room. We got the gloves. Get the gloves. They didn't want to get their fingerprints on anything, even though they already kicked the door open and whatnot. And even though they're already basically helping me do this, whatever.
As the interrogation comes to a close, Gregory once again displays his astonishing apathy towards his mother's death.
So, am I going to go to prison or what? Well, what's going to happen is I have to obviously let someone from the state attorney's office know about the events, and then we'll go from there. So I don't know, there's no end game as far as what's going to happen to you. Your question is, like, what, prison and all that jazz? I don't know. But you won't be arrested. Well, no, yeah, obviously, but like, if I'm a minor, can I even go to prison? Is that what you're saying? That I don't know. Again, I'm just the person who gets the facts and presents them. Is that okay? Detective Jones and I are just here to get the facts of the case. We present our findings to a legal part of things, which that's not me. So since I'm in the police station already, bring you handcuffs and all that jazz, you probably be naked at some point. Yeah. Oh, crap. And then, kind of a century, she gave me a granny for that 9/11 or 911 call. Yeah. You should give her a look, it's quite nice.
Though Gregory is bragging about his 911 call, it's actually something that gave him away from the beginning. When he was asked where the emergency was, he immediately launched into his story, which is an instant red flag.
Where's your emergency? I just got home, and my house is completely trashed. It looks like someone broke in the side door.
An innocent person is interested in help, not telling a story. It's incredible that the detectives can keep a straight face listening to him. Before officially arresting Gregory, the sergeant has one last question for him.
You take a little bit of pride in what you did. That's fine. You know what? It is what it is, right? Are you willing to go with us and show us where at the church where you put her and everything? Do a little reenactment of what happened? So again, if you're willing to ride with us, I'll sit you in the backseat of the patrol car, uniform deputy. We'll come in and handcuff you, of course, and put you back there with me, and then you'll just take us over to the church, and then we'll get out and do a little video reenactment of the scene over there. and you kind of go through some things. Tell us what you're thinking. That's all I'm looking to do at this point. You want to do that? I'll be down. You're down? Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
After arriving at the church, Gregory leads the officers to the burial site.
Drop, and then I put my phone, I can find this. Hell, are your phone's out here? Well, no, it's not. I wish it was. No, no. They were the, did they find this stuff back here? We probably found a few things, but don't know what you recall. Alright, well, whatever. There's, did you guys find a gun back here? Did we find a gun back here? It's okay. There's one back there. Yeah, we did. Yeah, a rifle? Yeah. You guys found the laptops as well? I believe so, sir. Alright, sounds good. Okay. So, yeah, whatever. I set my phone so I get some light, but then I really need more, so I had to go back to my house to get more, but, how do you dug the hole? Let's talk about that. Are we sure when I dug it up? Okay. Alright, and then how did you put your mother's body in the hole? How was she oriented? Was she face up? Was she, okay, so originally I was gonna put her in legs first, and I realized that's a bad idea. Right. So I put her in head first, and then I folded her legs, and you're gonna, when you dig her up, whenever you do that, you'll find the legs first, which should make it easier for you to pull it out. Okay. How big are we talking about here, Greg? Pretty big. Well, I mean, let's say circumference-wise. Yeah, you can put it in your math guy. Well, I mean, you guys got rid of the fire pit, but it was the circumference of the fire pit. That's what the whole thing is, the circumference of the fire pit? Yeah, and then it kind of comes down. Get tired? Well, yeah, that and I'm on mine on it. Okay, alright. Then I'll take the vest around so you're aware of the great strangle her to death. 2 hands on her neck. So, we don't start with 1, and I thought 2 better. Okay, alright. And then there was 2 on both sides. You chose yours. Well, I shoot it up against the wall. I was at my house, I show you, but, it was interesting. So, no, I just learned up. So against the wall, standing up and then well, I had her up against the wall on the floor. Against the wall on the floor. You get that make sense? It does. It doesn't make sense. It's hard to make sense. Well, her head up against the wall and her body was on the floor? Yeah. And you had her like in the corner? I had her in the corner, yeah. Of the wall on the floor? Yeah. There you go. Really good. Remember that better? Yeah. You can see when you're doing it, the bed's tilted. We started on the bed. We started off the bed onto the left side where it is tilted. Okay.
While Gregory leads the officers through the woods, Brian and Dylan sit together in the back of a nearby patrol car as the boys talk about the current situation, seeming not to realize they're being recorded. It becomes very clear that they don't understand the consequences they'll soon be facing.
I told the entire thing, because me and you had already, yeah, I knew that I'm like, wait, so, like, also, I thought, no, there were other detectives, it was like, shit, don't need for the police station. So, they called my father, oh no, yeah, call my father. My father never been involved in this. Shoot out when I get home, I'm not gonna get a birthday or Christmas or anything. I'm gonna be gone for the next 10 years and disowned by my entire family. Dude, I know I can get into work tomorrow. Somebody fired. Dude, no, we had that job. Oh, man. We're making $15 an hour. Come on. Guys, this is important. Yeah, it's $15 an hour. Wait, really? But now we're going over there. How is the willpower staying so long? How it's working. You have to be there. 11 o'clock. Till around 7 o'clock. Yeah, but it's 8 times 15.
It seems that the concept of serving jail time for their crimes doesn't even cross the boys' minds. Is this just a sign of their immaturity, or do the two really feel that they haven't committed a crime by helping Greg cover up his mother's murder?
Is that right? It's not Greg. That guy's too tall. No, it's Greg. What is that? Yeah, it's Greg. That's Greg.
Because now,
Honestly. Look at what man's work. I'll do a lot of things for Greg. Oh, personality, some property. I got some speakers out of it. I was enjoying those tonight. I was kind of drunk. You should have.
The complete lack of accountability from Dylan and Brian is appalling. However, their utter absence of remorse only becomes more apparent when they bizarrely decide to sing Alien Boy by Oliver Tree.
I'll soon as sing Bruno Mars and all that sort of blasphemy speakers. I had to roll hooked up and look nice in my room. I wasn't so down. I was listening to that 3 doors down, so you can ignore it.
Eventually, all three boys are transported back to the police station. After a hectic night of processing, Gregory, Dylan, and Brian are reunited in the back of a patrol car and transported to the Department of Juvenile Justice, where it's very clear they have no idea they're being recorded.
Just like, I was asking for a bottle of water, so like, the woman is like, the water's in that fountain right there, and I'm just like, I'm not drinking out of that, like, I'm just gonna get AIDS straight from drinking from that one fountain. I know, it's just, I don't know, when I like, was struggling, I learned to like, hit the button pretty much. That is part of one doesn't say 500. Regional Mills, NRC, TJJ, Terminology, 581.
I wanted to be a nice person because you wanted to, but then the people just
I was asking down it, so it was like stealing, there was like something like this, so it was like, I'll pass on that. I'm back. What? I'm gonna move in here. It doesn't tell me already. You're Brian? What? Yeah, I'm Brian. Yeah, I had a lawyer. There was a lawyer with you. Well, my friend nothing, so. I guess I'm gonna get this out anyway. The lawyers too gave me this out.
The more time the three boys spend reunited, the less remorse they seem to have.
I was arrested on my grandma's birthday.
now I had to be this one because it feels like a punch in the face. But I just wanted, he just wanted to be nice.
Oh my god. That's gonna kill me. Tell me, did I answer your for 30 minutes?
You want to come back until it's
Yeah, they pretty much changed the full my fault.
Otherwise, I wouldn't
Like
be
30
anyone
times.
who loves it.
And
You won't love anyone
texted me
anymore.
100 times.
Instead of being worried about what Kat will think of him after she learns about the horrible things he's done, Brian only cares about her being mad at him for not responding to her texts. This just showcases the utter lack of understanding from the boys.
Rather than having it slapped about 30 times when I get back to school. I don't know my work I had to do. I'm working on school still and graduating, you know. What? You know, right? My senior year happens to graduate this year.
For the first time, it seems as though the boys may be starting to realize that their disturbing actions will have long-term consequences. School, friends, and life as these boys know it will now be changed forever. Not long after arriving at the juvenile center, Brian's family posted his $100,000 bond. In the 3.5 years prior to their court date, Brian finished high school, started college, and was employed. On the other hand, Dylan wasn't offered a bond for 309 days, as the court was concerned that his history of mental health issues may lead him to hurt himself. When he finally was given a bond, it was $200,000, meaning there was essentially no way for him to post his bail. For his part in the crime, Dylan was sentenced to 828 days in jail, followed by 10 years of probation. Despite both boys having been charged with accessory after the fact to second-degree murder, Brian was given a different sentence. At his hearing, Gail's sister spoke on the pain their family had suffered as a result of the actions taken by Gregory, Dylan, and Brian. In response, Brian said that he was sorry the tragic killing had happened, but that he was simply naive at the time and didn't take Gregory's murderous claims seriously. Even at his sentencing, it seemed that Brian was wholly unwilling to take full accountability for his actions. In the end, he was sentenced to 14 years of probation, with the first 364 days of that term being served in the Volusia County Jail. According to Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chipwood, Gregory Ramos is one of the top 3 sociopaths he's ever come in contact with. And it's easy to see why. For the brutal slaying of his mother, Gregory was charged as an adult and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. While his sentence can be reviewed again in 25 years, Gregory will serve a lifetime probation, no matter what.
Hey, something bad was left in jail. I don't know how you do it, Captain.
Not well.
Just like Chandler had my house. He let everyone scared.
And his eyes. He knows.
Okay.
That's crooked. Did you even get beat up in your tunnel? Possibly so hard it fixes itself.
Let's talk to somebody outside. Watch your presence, man. So no.
I love you, and I miss you.
That's the way I'll be. It's not okay.
Thursday, July 1st, 2021 wasn't unlike any other in the Holderson household in Windsor, Wisconsin. Living inside the home was 50-year-old Bart Holderson, his wife, 53-year-old Krista, and their youngest son, 23-year-old Chandler. Chandler was a hard-working, live-in college student with an exciting life and an extremely bright future. He was pursuing an IT degree at Madison Technical College, was a member of a police scuba diving team, a young employee at an insurance company, and had a job waiting for him at Elon Musk's prestigious company, SpaceX, upon graduating. He was, by all accounts, an overachiever, and his parents couldn't have been more proud. Chandler also liked to cook, and on the evening of the 1st, he made a pasta with scampi sauce dinner for his parents. Following dinner, he helped them gather and pack up tools and luggage in preparation for their 4th of July getaway. His parents had informed him over dinner that they were going on a weekend trip up to their family's cabin, 3 hours away in the woods of Langlade County. During the day, Chandler had noticed his father take a bank-wrapped stack of cash out of the safe in the basement. He'd also seen that his parents had taken a handful of bottles from the liquor cabinet. He noted both of these things as odd, but didn't think too much of it. After helping them get their belongings together, the three enjoyed some television before they all headed to bed. That would be the last time Chandler would see his parents alive. The next morning, Friday, July 2nd, Chandler's parents took off for the cabin before he awoke. Chandler enjoyed a day of peace and quiet until that afternoon there came a knock at the door. It turned out to be a co-worker of Krista's. She hadn't shown up or called out of work that day, which was extremely unusual behavior for her. The colleague had tried contacting her by phone, but to no avail, so he'd come by to make sure she was okay. Chandler told him that his mom and dad had been preparing for a trip up to the family cabin and had left that morning. With everything going on, she'd probably forgotten to call out. Slightly relieved, her coworker left, but kept in touch with Chandler over the weekend to make sure that Krista made it back safe. However, when Krista didn't come to work or call out that Monday or Tuesday, her coworker had a gut feeling that something was wrong and encouraged Chandler to go to the police. When they still hadn't come home by Wednesday, July 7th, Chandler took his advice and filed a missing persons report to the Dane County Sheriff's Office. He advised police that his parents had been driven up to the cabin by a mysterious couple. After leaving the police station, Chandler began desperately reaching out to people by phone and going door to door around his neighborhood, asking everyone if they'd heard from his parents. However, no one had seen or heard anything. The next day, July 8th, Chandler's brother Mitchell and his fiancée met police officers at the family cabin to search the premises for Bart and Krista. But instead, they discovered something rather odd.
We probably could get in if you wanted us to. Obviously, there'd be some damage. We tried to minimize it as best we could, but it's not going to at least make sense at this point.
There were no suitcases or possessions inside the cabin. Surfaces were covered in layers of dust, and it didn't look as if anything had been moved or even touched. It was clear that no one had been inside at any point in the recent past. With nowhere else to turn, police summoned Chandler as well as his girlfriend Kath down to the police station, and the hopes of uncovering some more details that would help them locate his missing parents. Kat's demeanor being taken to the station is very different compared to Chandler's.
Oh my gosh, you can see? I'm not gonna lie. If you hear me burping, I have a very sensitive stomach. Is it true though that he's a lawyer just in case people forever do that to him?
The following interrogation footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney, a licensed clinical psychologist, a former licensed professional counselor, and a licensed professional counselor. So obviously we're here. We want to talk a little bit about your parents going missing, right, Kristen, Bart? Before we get started, just because you're out here, okay, so I'm just going to read you your constitutional rights. Okay, so it's a Dane County issued card that they give us. So I'll just read them to you right off the card, okay? The detective's decision to read directly from the note card, despite surely having committed the Miranda rights of memory, could be to emphasize to Chandler that being Mirandized is just a formality, and nothing he needs to think too hard about. After Chandler has read his Miranda rights, the detectives jump directly into questioning. In missing persons cases especially, it's important that investigators work with a sense of urgency. Each minute that passes makes it less likely that the victims will be found alive. However, not taking the time to develop rapport with someone can lead to their anxiety level remaining high, which would make them more closed off. Taking a few minutes to put someone at ease and try to connect with them can end up saving a lot of time in the long run. So you reported your parents missing. We got some information from yesterday. So I guess if you want to start with, let's just go back to last Wednesday. I was with my dad, and I remember it was kind of a bad day. Why was it a bad day? I tossed the ball, and I smashed the glass. And the dog stopped. And set my dad off, and we tried to clean it up. I don't know about him, but I got injured. But he was mad, and I talked too much that day. I detected my house that something's happened, and all I knew when people were going inside is that there are warrant for my house. What are you up to? What are you up to? They went into the house. It's a reality. Officer Cody, this is like what? Pretty much came to the gate, on the outside. She's gonna walk in there, so everything's okay. She said something's happened. And we need to go down. It's definitely strange that Chandler would suddenly inquire about a warrant. He looks at the detective with a more stern countenance when asking this question, and makes what appears to be direct and sustained eye contact. While sustained eye contact is more of a sign of dishonesty rather than honesty, and looking away periodically can be due to accessing memories, Chandler's almost constant looking away is atypical behavior and suspicious. Just like how his sustained eye contact is a red flag, the awkward, sustained, almost complete lack of eye contact would raise concerns. Here, his eye contact has nothing to do with trying to look open and honest, and everything to do with seeking out any emotions or clues in the officer's face as he responds. For now, they shift their focus back to getting a timeline for what Chandler did on Thursday, July 1st, the last day he'd seen his parents. In the morning, she left her work at 7:30. His hand covers both sides of his face and he rubs his chin. These are typically self-soothing behaviors, which aren't unusual for a situation like this. Most people in Chandler's position would be anxious. The pressure from the rubbing is comforting, and his head and arm serve as a subconscious barrier between him and the detective he's talking to. Chandler speaks very slowly, even when describing routine activities like helping his mom with chores before work. He appears to be thinking a lot and often stares blankly at the floor, as if in a daze. This is a common symptom of emotional cutoff, which results when a person is under high stress or has experienced a traumatic event. Emotional cutoff is an adaptive response that allows a person to better cope with intense situations without falling apart or having an emotional breakdown. Since Chandler was frequently with his girlfriend Kat since Friday, detectives are interviewing both so they can uncover any inconsistencies between their stories. If their recounts of the past weekend don't match up, the two are going to have a huge problem. Her response to seeing the stuffed animal, then proceeding to cuddling with it on the couch as if she's lounging around her own home, may be indicators of emotional immaturity. When someone doesn't show an appropriate level of concern during an investigation, detectives can interpret this as a red flag. Kat sits alone in the interrogation room for about 20 minutes, looking as if she's battling fatigue. Detectives finally enter, introduce themselves, and make her a generous offer in the hopes she lets her guard down.
This is George. He's one of my partners. I spoke with him yesterday. He's not here, so you get George.
Can I invite you to cookies?
Is it chocolate?
I have chocolate, one of them.
How much?
Kat seems to be in a much softer interrogation room than Chandler. Soft interrogation rooms come from a trauma-informed perspective. When family members, children, or victims of assault need to be questioned by police, they may feel safer doing so in a space that feels comfortable, especially compared to a bare interrogation room. In a regular interrogation room, detectives want the suspect to rely on them to provide comfort, such as compliments, food, cigarettes, attention, rather than the room itself providing comfort.
So, I just want to make sure that I'm really understanding everything. So, again, give me a time from Thursday. Thursday at work. That's when Chandler told me it. I think it was Thursday that his parents were going up to the cabin. With some friends, so he was going to be at the house with all his friends all weekend. Went to sleep
Friday morning, I woke up, Derek left with her stuff was all set up. I remembered the cast. So Friday during the day, just played video games and dinner, playing after work. I believe that was the day Kat came over after whose work. Kat, she was out of her work. I was her work lunch when she was off. So she came over. I believe she stayed with me on the couch that night.
woke up, sorry for work for work. And I was going to go over there since I'm in hate. So I came to the dogs.
I was going to start getting a friend out who started.
To east, to my mom's house. To the
You probably noticed that Kat is eating her cookie extremely slowly. This is significant because if you remember, when the detectives first offered Kat the cookies, she told them that she has a chocolate allergy. She claimed that she'll violently throw up if she eats it. However, between the sprinkle cookie and the chocolate chip cookie, she chose the chocolate one. This may explain why she's holding on to it for so long and taking such tiny bites. She could be trying to avoid the chocolate or ingest only little bits of it at a time. You'll later see throughout the interview that she pauses multiple times, reporting the urge to vomit. Her choice to take the chocolate cookie, though, was unusual and could be a possible indication of attention-seeking behaviors.
So, back to Chalmers. And then, I was there and I left in the morning because you want to do chores or something. So I was coming. I don't know what time I was home. But true. And so, on Saturday, I was with my dog at 8:53 a.m. So did you see the fireplace? Broken. It was like 1 p.m. I think. On the left side. And you just see like the blood in the glass was out there. Just from chocolate that looks like a little bit of glass was still there. So I feel like whole cardboard, but probably because it would make comes big toe. She's still kind. It was by the fireplace, I assume. It was by the fireplace. I think so. I like see it, you know. I didn't see that. Oh. So I feel like whole cardboard, but it's Sunday. It's the 3rd. In the morning, I'm a little worried about my family. I called them up. Well, throughout I've called, I don't know the time, so throughout the weekend, I called my mom, I believe, in the morning, along those lines, and I did text her. It was a text message, it wasn't even a message, so I assumed she said white leg today. So she sent it that day.
Chandler makes notably little eye contact with either officer throughout his explanation of his weekend. Occasionally breaking eye contact is a typical sign of one's attempt to access memories, but Chandler is mostly staring down and away from detectives, only looking up at them every now and then. Also, the way Chandler backtracks here sounds as if he made a mistake by indicating to detectives that he only contacted his mother on July 4th. He felt the need to clarify his statement, a sign that there's something of possible interest here.
I had fun day and then Sunday. Asked him what he's up to, or if he wants to hang out. Did I like being alone at the house for everyone. Dan, his mom's coworker slash friend, she wants to. He invited me for fireworks. And it was Saturday. I don't know, this is Sunday, so I went to Pat's house to eat. But we ended up not eating there. We went to Cres's house. Kat and I rushed back to my house, let the girls out, and go back straight to the farm.
The farm is Cress's home and property. It's a large plot of land that features Cress's house, fields of crops and plants, a big barn, and an above-ground swimming pool that Chandler and Kat frequently use. After enjoying a meal at the farm, the couple traveled back to Chandler's house around 7 p.m. They fed his dogs and took them outside, tackled a couple other small chores. Then they made their way to Dan's house to light fireworks and spend the 4th of July holiday together. After a fireworks show that nearly caused a bushfire, the pair decided it was time to call it a night. They went back to Chandler's house and fell asleep together around 10 p.m. Kat tells investigators much of the same thing about her holiday.
So she went home, went to Mom's. Yes, okay. Nathan? I'm guessing.
Kat corroborates Chandler's story. Kat shows detectives a video of Chandler that's timestamped on July 4th.
house. Into bedrooms or bathroom. You know, really felt like they had their own life. I'm fine, I'll
After enjoying fireworks at Dan's house, then going back to Chandler's for the night, the two woke up together Monday morning. Kat left for work shortly before 8 a.m. Chandler supposedly spent the morning playing video games and watching TV. He then made a rather spontaneous visit to the farm by himself.
At the end of the day on Monday, I did go for the afternoon. I did go to the farm, Dr. Crest and Cat's mom. I told them what's happening with Lyle, because I had the appointment next to it. Did you go to the farm before or after? Because I told them what happened, and I told them the lights are probably going to be permanent, and the headaches should be fixed. So after that, I just grew a little bit.
Chandler is speaking like someone who's trying to jog their memory. He must know that the interrogation isn't some sort of memory test, but he seems keen on recalling every detail, perhaps hoping that providing such detail will mean that he won't be considered a suspect. An innocent person would reasonably want to cough up as much information as possible. However, focusing on details could also be Chandler's way of diffusing any stress or anxiety he's feeling.
Sunday, so you're swimming, the break time. What was the end of the break time about? Your legs start heavy. No, I haven't. Just, I don't even know if they're not even like as bad as they can be yet, so that's that fun. And I think you were telling me last night it's a symptom of a concussion, right? So manslaughter, it's a symptom of nerve damage from the long side, so part of it, I understand that, no, so over there, that's not so easy, right? What time do you think that was? 7:30 I left the farm. I think it was just eat and cuddle a little bit. So, I did it. I was ready to go. And then, somebody woke up, got ready, and we remember Monday, okay. Walked around 7:40 when I took a picture of the three of us. Then I went to work. If you want to see pictures of me at my job, I took pictures. In the house section. And the house vacation.
So far, Kat comes across as open and forthcoming with detectives. She answers all of their questions in detail and offers up photos and timestamps readily and frequently without being asked. On the other hand, this does all seem a tad convenient. This behavior seems unusual, but may indicate her willingness to be cooperative.
From there, I went to Memphis because Cameron's the farm. Because Merlin's fiance lets him walk in the pool before it easy at Sunday because it helps stretch out his legs, make him feel better. It also helps stretch his legs on Friday. Because he has some tiredness, that's the word. And last fall, he had a couple weeks back.
From there, Kat's account of Monday night mimics Chandler's. They met up at Kat's mom's house sometime around 8 p.m., ate dinner, and watched TV together. Then Chandler left, and they spent the night in their respective homes. We pick our tale back up on Tuesday morning.
And then there's a very rotten rock on Tuesday, I think. You call us and don't Lord from I don't know if you call it that. I got everybody just contact us so I can reach out anyway, so. It's Tuesday morning, they should be here. So we're at the call my mom, I think. So from the time they left, did you talk to them at all when they It's sure. There's no 4th of July. Maybe the sheep drinks, but there's no parade or highway on the 4th. And I started trying to keep the glass. Louisiana glass, I just had chairs in front of it. And I was on the floor, so I got the Swiffer I borrowed from Cat. I Swiffered the floor for it, and then I got a little bit in the kitchen. And then everywhere kind of I walked, pretty much. The bathroom, the kitchen, and then I couldn't get the carpet, so I still stayed right up to Friday.
While it's possible that the bloody toe and the explanation behind it are all true, traces of blood at a crime scene are always a red flag to law enforcement. They'll likely be checking out these stains in order to gauge whether they really might have come from a cut, or if they were clearly caused by something else. One must wonder if Chandler has ever heard of a Band-Aid.
I was trying to stop all the bleeding, but it wouldn't stop. That blood was all coming from your left foot. Yeah, left foot hole. Left foot hole. Yeah. And are we talking massive amounts of blood, are we talking, a little bit? And just, they started as drops until I got to the bathroom. And then I got back to go grab my sock and some paper towel. And I see the glasses in there, so I grabbed the tweezers and I pulled it out, and it starts spurting out. And I got some, a little bit of the rock. It wasn't that bad of the rock, but I think the worst was that floor. That way, kind of like this, the puddles, and those frozen goods turned out before now in the basement. That one, and then I go upstairs to the kitchen, and it's still going on time to get my foot in the sink, just to slow it down and pinch it, baby.
Chandler continues with a highly detailed account of his every move. He's sticking to the strategy of providing a description of every single step. However, his constricted emotions and facial expressions make it difficult to read whether this is a symptom of anxiety or a genuine attempt to be helpful.
Footsteps again from minutes. 12:30. Okay. That's a Russian person. That's a Russian. My boyfriend's cancer was in. I think it's more concerning than I was concerned. I'm a very emotional person. I cry after both of us. It's what I have to say. It's I don't know what the feeling constant, So serious, they're important. As far as the blood on your foot, how did you clean that up? So we were talking, you had blood on Swiffer wet shirt? Okay, Swiffer wet shirt. And where did you get that from? Chocolate paper. Where's that now? I returned it to that. Did you use anything else? Hydroxide for the piles from the Hartfords. Just the big globs needed a little bit. The hydrogen peroxide. So that seemed to help get rid of them. Well, I hurt my foot. Stuff. We're doing right now. Okay, we kind of just made a mess. So when I had some blood on the basement, I used the peroxide. And then the basement floor and tiles in the kitchen? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, peroxide. There wasn't as much. This size pools in the kitchen. Okay, I was pinching it pretty damn hard. I need to clean up it all when it actually happened. My dad was furious. So he did stuff. Okay, yeah. I don't know what he did. But he's in my room upstairs and he did everything, but it still was on the floor after it was done. Okay. Did you vacuum your building, the rest of it? Did he step out of here? Did he set it up? Alright. Don't doubt it. He was mad, he's not thinking.
he could be. Chandler's amusement about his dad getting cut will certainly be noted by detectives as a red flag. To be fair, it's possible that Chandler is just the type of person who uses inappropriate humor to cope with stress or anxiety. However, when it's discovered what lay among the ashes of the Holderson's fireplace, you'll look back on this comment with a bit more speculation.
When I go to the police station, I asked her, when should I make that thing? Like the Wednesday morning, he said he went to the police department. He had to make talk to them about the parents. And then I met with 3 sheriffs.
Chandler's show of emotion is sudden and brief. The nature of his display calls into question whether he's trying really hard to keep his composure, or whether this short demonstration was merely an affectation. There's also a third theory. Chandler's agitation might not concern his parents' disappearance at all. Chandler was surely trying to say missing persons report, but he couldn't seem to remember what it's called, no matter how hard he tried. Cat also told police that Chandler was trying to keep himself optimistic and saying things like, well, they're at the cabin, they don't get a lot of reception, so that's why we haven't talked to them. As well as speculating that maybe their phones died and that was why they haven't heard from them.
So his brother's at the beach. Yeah, that's... But that's Chandler language doesn't want us doing that, so we really want to have an brother versus thinking. I asked him that when I was going to help. I was like, why don't we love the cabin? Because, his fiancé never comes. I could go. He was like, yeah, you could. He was like, but I don't know if they need you and ask them a question, which clearly that's good. And, also you do the dogs. So, in terms of neighbors to see if they have, can you, a ring camera, if there's, 40 camera to call the car, and they said they would hand over some police, in that house in that dark, for steal dogs. Thanks to security system, I was wondering if you were able to capture the road or not. The police actually came and downloaded everything they have. It's actually like Houston's house. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they were here. They came in last night and downloaded all the videos she found. So I'm hoping. Yeah, did they capture anything? No. They just took a copy of everything and so I hope
He was definitely concerned based on a call he placed to the sheriff's office before his interrogation.
Okay, here's, I got 2 squads that's been outside my house, and they're not really canvassing, they just kind of sit back. Yeah, they're in the area doing canvassing, and they're also probably doing a shift change right now, getting our second shift crew on around 3:30.
But in addition to his concern was his notable level of apprehension, and the source behind it would soon be uncovered.
Any reason to believe my dad's blood would be somewhere in the house. That they injured at all here with. So when my dad scratches his stripes, his coat, like touches the hell it's just got nothing to run down your leg. Like, how do you like it? So it's like, it was around me. So he does this and just rips down. I asked him to stop, but he doesn't do it when he's stressed out. And he's kind of like, he's a tick. He's just my mom's blood. Just over, sometimes I'm shooting, so that's what we've been doing. That would dehumidifier, and dehumidifiers. Yeah. Out downstairs, we have to do multiple of them, but she can't be in the room too long because it's a dehumidifier. When she does, her nose gets bad. Like a regular, she gets it bad.
We begin to see some variance in Chandler's facial expressions and intonation. He's really dramatizing his description of how his parents' blood could be present in the home. In reality, neither the scratching of the psoriasis nor a nosebleed are enough to produce noticeable pools of blood. You might think he's being helpful and convincing, but he's actually coming off as quite suspicious. The fact that further investigation revealed considerably large traces of blood that had once been on the basement floor inside Chandler's home doesn't help his argument. In fact, it seems as if he might be trying to explain away why there may be a lot of blood found inside his house.
So he has a good relationship with mom and dad. His introvert is like, the more he wants parents, the better video game has him here. So the relationship that we probably know for the three of them. I mean, he'll come out, but he can that. I told you that already. And that's how I thought over every weekend. Other than that, the time I've really seen this couple of them, I guess. So if you heard that call out, that was a big deal. Because I thought yesterday we said that she's old for like plans and Christmas, presents and stuff like that. So why was it those 2 weeks? Yeah, I was like, she was working for like a guy at the time. And like, they just, there's like problems for HR and how we work like killing him. And like, it was like, they sent him his mail. So like, his address, so it was like, we canceled that check. And he like tried getting one, so I just proved it. And then at that point, they owed him like a couple $1,000, so they were so far behind. And then I guess the company when they sent money through was like, this doesn't seem legit. They thought it was a scam. And so his parents are like, you guys, it was somebody who's been really have money. And so, yeah. And they come. It was just those 2 weeks that were like, he had like stress.
It seems odd that Chandler's parents were instantly critical and not more understanding of the problems he was having getting paid. This indicates that there were probably pre-existing issues concerning Chandler and making excuses to not repay his debts. Bart and Krista simply could have been drawing the line with Chandler rather than being hard on him. It could also be for this reason that they gave Chandler chores and expected him to cook sometimes.
So for the police, the staff when he heard his staff and fell. Yeah, he was sure, like, right after he fell. Because, like, they used their chapstick more. It was a part of, like, the recovery of, like, getting their sides. Like, so, stairs, he fell down the stairs, he was, like, twice bruised ribs, as well, like, an neck brace. They're always taking care of him and doing more. Do you know where he fell? Yes. I'm sure a full memory here because I'm suspicious of him. He was going upstairs and fell. He was on the ball, his box was on the area of his gear, so it sprang down. But one stairs was boxed. Yeah. So that's really a question of him falling. He probably was on the computer, but I didn't write up the house. No. His dad was downstairs at his computer. He was funny though, like, hearing Chandler call, he was like, I thought the computer didn't sound bad. And then I got up, like, check after a while, and she was on the floor. let's go listen. Sure. She didn't say anything about it afterwards, like, he made really thanks. I didn't just slip on myself, I actually, it was clumsy. And it was not the first time you saw me. She needs a little wet work, and things, just gave her this Okay. That sounds so
Chandler supposedly ran down the wooden staircase in his home while wearing socks, causing him to slip and fall down the stairs. He sustained a concussion, bruises to his ribs, and nerve damage resulting from a hit to the upper spine. The concussion alone left him with poor memory recall and trouble processing information quickly, among other lasting symptoms. Because his injuries impacted his cognitive ability, Chandler apparently felt that it would be best to notify his soon-to-be bosses at SpaceX of his accident. As a result, he lost his position at the company. This loss, in combination with the persistent and indefinite discomfort of his injuries, weighed heavily on Chandler, not to mention his parents having gone missing not long after. It certainly sounds like an unfortunate case, and while the circumstances surrounding his termination are disheartening, it seems odd that Chandler would voluntarily give up his dream job, seemingly prematurely. If he really did have his future mapped out and it all hinged on this job, most others wouldn't have given up without a fight. However, Chandler essentially just forfeited his future position.
So that's where she said, like, the city was supposed to go. What's the point? So I'm like, so what that means? She had to stay with Jack here, so we didn't have Jack right now. Or just transfer that. After you, already never say, you could also have emergency food down there. So we don't get the applications because people are investigating the county sheriffs. Like, notice about alarmness. We don't. And messaging people, like, people never say, like, hey, that's okay, and we don't know what to tell people.
Don't think about swelling.
The first thing that I mean, she would have, like, everything laid out. And when were you supposed to? She was supposed to leave the Saturday of the fall. So, she went on Thursday, Friday, supposed to be Saturday morning. And then, I was gonna leave at end or middle of August because I want to be here for my birthday. That's a good one. You know what I mean? Can you get home?
The tragic fall ultimately cost him his job and his future among the palm trees. Perhaps this was just a coincidence, or even a fateful stroke of bad luck. Or maybe the fall is just a small part of something more convoluted. Detectives would discover the truth soon enough.
You should have had like a face that you were gonna like do everything kind of figured out. What were you gonna say? It was like from a building to the stone. Okay. Did you like write San Luis and stuff? I think so.
Before Chandler lost his job, she was supposed to be moving down to Florida with him in early August. It's odd that her big move across the country was just around the corner, and she had absolutely no idea what apartment they were moving to, and no confirmation that the arrangements were actually in place. It's normal for a young person to receive help and guidance from their parents, but Chandler sounds more like he needs his parents to hold his hand, which is indicative of severe emotional immaturity. Although many young adults may live at home for a time, should be working towards financial independence. When someone is happy to mooch off of their parents or another person with no long-term goals for themselves, this can be a red flag. In fact, living a parasitic lifestyle can be a sign of psychopathy. Another sign of Chandler's immaturity was that following his parents' disappearance, it was noted that all the couches in the basement were pushed together, and when he was asked why, Chandler said that he had made himself a fort to sleep in.